Hi, welcome to show 230.
230.
And we are
230.
Yeah, 230. Yeah. We are here with our man, Mr. Brown. After promising to get him in for a really long time, I'm going to kneel down a little bit.
I think you've actually sort of like popped your head in.
Yeah, I've been on like when I was at the shop.
Yeah.
Commandeered.
I thought you were going to say he's actually growing a bit. Then that's what you were going to say.
No, he's a big lad.
Getting taller. Yeah. So we've come to his place. This is like Yo HBSMA Cribs. So he showed us around. He's got an amazing studio in there, but we're in his record room.
In his deck room.
In his deck room, yeah. So we've got an interview with him in a little bit, but we're starting with a couple of tracks off the brilliant new album, The Reason He's On. Beats for Days 2. Yeah. Or if you're in France.
2. And so what's this one, Rich? Good to have you with us, by the way.
Yeah, cheers. This is Assassin's Handbook.
Interesting.
Show him the cover, Chris.
There you go, and this is the album that you are going to want to be getting with that most beautiful artwork as well. And yeah, this is it's a brilliant album. You came in with the test press and played it to me, and I loved it. But I think someone else
Yeah. My favourite customer was
Oh, Nick.
Yeah.
What was this, dear boy? Anyway, but cool. So I didn't have a good chance to listen to it, but since got a copy, and it is fantabulous. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah,
absolutely amazing. Yeah. Cool. So this is one of the tracks off of the new album, but we will be talking about that in a few records' time.
Yeah.
But as ever, we're going to get Mr. Brown to play some of his favourite little digs.
Yeah, so this is what, Rich?
The track's called Datatron, and it's from Polly.
This is nice. So this is a test pressing.
I guess so.
Yeah, cool.
That's so right there.
I
Yeah,
like
it does
this.
say so, yeah. But it has a proper cover though.
Yes.
And there's even 3D glasses in there for the cover.
Fantastic.
Exciting stuff. And there's only 50 of these, so you.
There was only 50.
There was only 50.
It was 2 years ago.
Do you mind if I try your glasses on?
I don't think I've ever used them.
It's the future, people.
It's not like fully 3D, it's like weird.
It's got a bit of depth to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite. Ooh. They're 3D.
Yeah, they're getting bigger. Yeah, it's wicked. I like it.
Yeah, I like stuff like this.
Sure.
Okay, what we got next, mate?
Yes,
Let's go for a jazz.
let's go for a bit of jazz. I'm surprised you've got a CTI. Oh, yeah,
It is
got a
CTI,
CTI.
Dave Matthews.
Let's go with a bit of Dave Matthews. So what we got here, Rich? We have got...
This is Sandworms off of Dune, Dave Matthews. Most diggers know this one.
We've played this on the show, but we played Star Wars.
We did.
Yeah.
We played the B-boy break, whereas Rich likes the...
Yeah, that's the large professor. Mad scientist.
So this basically, this album has got everything that you're all about, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a CTI record, which I love the label. It's sci-fi, it's jazz, it's got the Obi strip.
It's Japanese.
It's a Japanese issue.
Totally.
And it's a dope sample from one of my favourite producers. So.
Is that what they're called? Obi strips?
Yeah.
Because I've got a few Obi strips, but I never knew they had a name.
No, yeah, it's the name for it. That's kind of it's like Japanese for like sash or something like
Oh, is
that.
it?
So I mean, it's not just for records, I think. Maybe wrong, but
I just thought Obi strip was something in that porno version of Star Wars.
that's a fucking really good one, right?
Yeah,
Not bad, Brad.
That's a cuff, just like that, you know. This is lovely. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I thought I'd play that.
Cool.
So moving on to give us another one of your views. Picked out for us.
We'll go with my man DJ Spence, aka The Summit, off of his album. I can't even remember the name of it. Nocturnes. Sorry, Kev. Yeah, this is Criminally Slept On. So fucking dope. It's my album of the year.
Okay. All right. Well, let's listen to that album of the year then.
This is The Summit, Nocturnes.
Yeah, it's on Soundwave.
Yeah.
I think there's still some copies available.
Yeah, I'll have to grab this.
You need it.
Well, it sounds sort of better than yours.
He basically
It came out one night.
I mean, he basically made the album I wanted to make, so then I had to switch up for
It's awesome, yeah, really.
I really like. I love it. I think it's great.
Yeah, that's killer.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is one of my. I mean, all the tracks are done.
So when did this come out?
This year.
This year, yeah.
This year. Okay, right, okay. This is Mankind.
The track, yeah.
Cool.
And it's got a lovely like brutal style.
Textured sleeve.
Fabric, not fabric, just linen.
Yeah, very nice. Cool.
Cool.
Yeah, excellent.
Get it while you still can then.
Totally. Slept on.
Yeah.
So I think we should probably go to the
I think we should.
interview.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk to the man.
Let's have a chat.
Cool.
Mr. Brown.
Hello.
Take two.
Take
Take two.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us in your gorgeous home.
This is his new album. Buy this stuff.
It is awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
So again, tell us how you started getting into well, I suppose I should say hip hop really.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I wasn't much into music as a kid, just like pop music and that kind of stuff. And then I got into skateboarding late 80s, early 90s.
How good of a skater was you?
Well, I did it. I mean, I'll still go skate now. Like, I still go for a roll. I was all right. Like mid to late 90s, I was all right, but never good enough to really get like hooked up or anything.
Hang on, didn't you go to Los Angeles? Like,
yeah, it was on a holiday. No, it wasn't free. No,
was it not?
I paid.
Oh right. Okay.
No, I paid, and that was just to go and skate all the spots. And friends of mine were sponsored and professional and things like that. But yeah, no, I was never that good.
Did you?
I filmed a lot of people. I was sat at spots filming people.
Sure.
Did you skate any pools?
I could roll around the pool, yeah. Like I've rolled around Harrow Pool before. Like,
I nearly drowned in Harrow Pool once.
Oh, really? But yeah, that wasn't really much. It was more street skating, stuff like that. And yeah, as that sort of started to really come into the skate videos and whatnot, like hip hop started to come into that.
And what sort of stuff was it at the time?
And it was like you get some real early. I remember really early souls of like hieroglyphics, Dell, that kind of Oakland stuff, because there was a big scene in San Francisco.
Sure.
And because they were emerging, they were into hip hop, and they got these tracks off this new crew that are doing it, and they put it in their videos, and then
naturally sort of went together, I suppose, at the time.
And then all kinds of other stuff, like early Ice Cube, and that was the stuff that really got me sort of hooked into it. And like, I really like this. This is what I want to listen to.
Yeah, and in regards to the skating, when did the sort of skating side of it turn more into a musical sort of like thing? In regards to sort of like the DJing, did you start DJing as a play-out DJ, or did you just want to scratch and cut?
No, I started actually getting into DJing was when the whole like early drum and bass movement happened. Because I'm from near Luton and Dunstable, and all that stuff was coming out of those sort of areas.
Yeah, that's right.
We Justice. Had like shout out to Tony Justice. And it was just crazy that he was only up the road, and it turns out LTJ Bookham used to live in the village next to mine when I was at that time, apparently, which is crazy because he's one of my favourites on that side of things.
I mean, oddly, I suppose if you listen to a lot of the early sort of, well, not early LTJ Bookham, but the stuff that he was bringing out in the sort of like later 90s, with that more intelligent sort of drum and bass, it kind of resonates almost with some of the stuff that you make, because it's more soundscapes rather than typical sort of drum and bass.
That was definitely a big influence.
Yeah.
But that was kind of when that DJ explosion happened. Like with the hip hop stuff, the DJ was there, but it was always about the rapper that was forefront, and I wasn't gonna, I'm not gonna be a rapper. And then when when the DJ thing exploded with drum and bass, it was something new, and I wanted to get in. And a friend of mine at school got into it at the same time, and then it wasn't until I think it was 96 DMC, the one that Noise won. I saw a video of that, and I think I remember seeing the Albert Hall DMC years before, like just because it was such a spectacle. I think it was even
with Cutmaster Smith and his
Cash Money.
Yeah.
Like I remember seeing that because I think it was even on TV because it was such a big thing. But yeah, 96 DMC with like Noise and Rock Vader and Swamp and all that, and that was like, what the fuck? Oh, you can do this shit with. So then I was like, right, I wanted to get into that shit, and it wasn't until I was still really into skating, and doing that a lot, and I didn't really have any other friends that were into that kind of thing until I started skating Milton Keynes, sort of 96 to 2000s. Met a friend of mine, Rob, and he got into DJing, and then we both got into that side of things, and it was just then hours of when we weren't skating, we'd go back to his, and like, or they'd come down here, and we'd always be just hours now juggling the same track back and forth for fucking hours, like something the kind of thing that would do my head in now.
Yeah, but at the time,
but yeah, we're all learning. Yeah,
you're learning. It's something new. So I've got to get this right.
Yeah, he gets it, and then it's like, oh, let me get it, and then we would just do that for hours.
So you were spotting each other.
Yeah, essentially, like.
Did you wear like leg warmers and stuff?
No. But yeah, so that, and then that's how that all came in. Getting into scratching and watching DMC videos and
I guess, I mean, if you like, I suppose with most other people who really sort of like study and do their craft that way, you end up meeting other people that are doing it. You end up getting into the scene quite deeply as well. So when did you start really sort of like meeting other people? Because obviously a lot of your friends.
All just like happenstance kind of meetings. Like there's all this, like my friend Dan that runs King Underground. Like I met him at skating the train station in Milton Keynes in like 95, 96.
Yeah.
So I've known him for like over 20 years.
Yeah.
We were skating. We were both into hip hop. He was a few years younger than me.
Right.
Well, he still is, of course.
Yeah, of course. You would hope. Yeah.
And then, so I've always known him since then, and then it's just turned out that, he opened a shop, and then he started a label, and he's into the same stuff, so that's that connection there with all those kind of people.
And what about with, say, Silk Cuts and,
that,
and
again,
some of the other DMC guys?
I used to work in a DJ shop in Acton.
Right.
And a guy that worked there with me lived in Staines, my mate Lee. And they all come from that. They all come from like Staines, like Tiger Style and Silk Cuts.
What year was that you were working there?
That was like 98 to 99. Up to maybe. I think the shop maybe closed in 2000.
Right.
Can't quite remember. I think I was only there for a good solid year until the shop closed. But yeah, this guy Lee was working there, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I've got friends that are into that." And I remember them coming around one time, or I think we went to DMC. Yeah, I remember going to DMC '99 UK finals at Shepherd's Bush, and Tiger Style. Tiger Style was in that. It's the first one he was in, and Lee and Baz, my mates there, were like, "We know that guy. He's from Staines." And then it turned out they knew people through other people, and when you're a scratch DJ or whatever, if there's someone that's quite local, it's like, oh, we could link up and have a session, and we just did, and we ended up, me and Tarek and Al, and like Silk Cuts and Tiger Style and that whole crew, Vinyl Richie, we all just started hooking up, and so in like the early 2000s we were just
and how and I realised
learning off each other.
How come you didn't go down the DMC route?
I had like routines. I don't know. I just I've never really had much interest in like battling.
Sure.
Yeah, it wasn't for me. I kind of already started getting into making beats then. Like,
right.
So around like 99, 2000 when I got an MPC. So I was getting consumed with doing that as well. So I was still into the scratching, and I mean we'd hang out once a week and scratch for hours, and they all had new routines and stuff. But the hours it took to do the routines, I wanted to spend like making beats. And
so how did you? I mean, so moving back, how did you end up deciding that you wanted to get into making beats? Is it something that you had thought about for a little while and then decided to take the plunge, or is it something because you were working in a DJ shop, you got a bit of equipment, you thought, oh, maybe I'll have a go at this?
It was like again, the friend of mine from school that I got into DJing with, he'd stuck with that and was doing like, he started playing a lot of house, and he's always had like a really eclectic taste of stuff. And he was DJing and then got in with some people and started learning production and bought himself some gear, some sample, you know, an ST and samplers and all that stuff. And I'd said to him like, oh, I wouldn't mind, you know, kind of getting into doing some of that. I think he might have suggested, oh, you should start messing with it. You should maybe get an MPT. And I'd like heard of that kind of stuff. Yeah, I just thought, oh, that was it. A friend of his had one for sale, reasonably cheap. For, I think it was about 400 quid or something for an MPC 2000. Same one I've still got.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck it, and I bought it. And yeah, he kind of showed me the ropes. You know, he didn't know how the MPC works, but he knew how to sample and knew his way around an Akai sampler. And yeah, that was that. Basically, I started with that, and then over the years, I've bought more and more equipment. And you know, I didn't have a computer then or anything. I was just sampling records and all that.
And what were your musical influences at the time in regards to making beats?
Well, I mean, obviously, like all the classic producers, but then it was definitely, because that was around that time, there was a big resurgence in the UK scene, and a lot of people,
Mark B,
Mark B, Napper for sure, like all those kind of dudes were like Task Force. They were all like, it just made it seem a bit more, like they're doing that, like surely, well then maybe I can, maybe my beats are coming on, I could do something.
And I suppose you got into it at a time where the normal samples from the 80s and even the early 90s were kind of being replaced by quite strange abstract samples of soundtracks and things like that. Did you jump straight into that, or did you go into sort of, because obviously you've been picking up beats for years and years and do on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
But so what sort of stuff were you sort of like looping and sampling? What sort of sounds were you back then?
Kind of anything, like literally anything.
Because I guess if you're collecting records, you start kind of at the bottom. You kind of I remember I'd always had like my parents' old records, and like people would give me record, and you think, oh, well, the fuck is this shit. And a lot of times there was a lot of shit, but my parents had some good records. Like my mum had some good soul stuff and things like that. Yeah, it was just whatever I could find, and just start learning what's what. And I mean, I knew a little bit about some samples, but obviously I didn't want to go out and buy the well-known samples. Like, why would I want to use that? I want to try and find something else. Sure.
So yeah, it was just whatever I could find, and then just you start picking up stuff and knowing what's good and what might be good and what. And
have you? I mean, in regards to, I suppose there's always a couple of questions from me, but I suppose the first one is, when did you start? Then sort of like, look, I've been doing this. I'm going to release something. I want to get something down. I want to.
Well, I had the first production of mine was on a head count. Because again at the same time I was hooking up with Silk Cuts and Alvin. I ended up I can't remember how I hooked up with them. But I ended up hooking up with Chris Pneumatic from Headcount, and Ollie Bates, used to be called Illustrate, now lives in Australia. And they were starting their little thing. They were in Wickham, at uni in Wickham. I really can't remember how we hooked up. I think it was through another friend, and I maybe posted somewhere that I was looking for a rapper to work with, and he hit me up and we connected, and then he introduced me to Chris and all those guys, and they were the first ones to put, they did a 10-inch, and I did one of the tracks on that, and then did cuts on one of the other tracks, with Silk Cuts. So that was the first thing I actually had on vinyl, and I think that was like 2003.
Okay.
But that wasn't obviously my own. It wasn't my own release. My own thing didn't come until I did a mixtape in 2000, like when a mixtape used to be a mixtape.
Yeah.
Actual songs being mixed together, not like an album or something.
Sure.
I did one of them in like 2003. Sold like 200 copies of it. Like, just crazy. You would never sell 200 copies of a mixtape nowadays. But yeah, I did that, and then it wasn't until I think it was like there was kind of a lack of. I've always wanted to do stuff with rappers. I've recorded loads of different things with rappers over the years, but that takes so much time, and a lot of times things don't seem to work out right, and the things don't seem to get finished. And then I think it was like when Damu came out and Redef started putting out the instrumental stuff, and there was always like Pete instrumentals I loved, the Pete Rock one, and any time there's an instrumental version of an album, I would pick it up because I really like listening to just the beats. And then when Damu and stuff like that started coming out, I was like, oh, people are interested in buying like full instrumental albums, like that are not just instrumentals of rap songs, that are as on their own.
Because that is something that seems to be becoming more and more popular over the last few years.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Like in the last kind of 5 or 6 years, there's been a big like explosion of that kind of beat scene and people doing just beats, which is cool. I like, I really like listening to just beats a lot. It was people. It was, I think it was that Damu thing that made me think, oh, they want this kind of instrumentals, because obviously people like Shadow and people have done some wicked instrumental things over the years, but that wasn't quite what I had in my arsenal to do. But then I was like, oh, I've got all these nice beats. Maybe I could put a little project together, and that's how that first one was born. And
then, and since then, how many releases have you had?
Not a ton. There was the Beats for Days. Then I did a 7-inch single that had copyright on, which I'd actually recorded quite a few years before. Again, was going to be part of a bigger project, but that didn't come together, so I just did it as a single.
Let's talk about Beats for Days though, because obviously that's relevant.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
The amazingly cleverly titled Beats for Days 2.
That was because I was never going to call it that. I didn't want to do a Beats for Days 2, and then
Beats for Weeks.
I didn't. That's it. I was like, I'm not going to do something stupid like that.
We would have.
Well, definitely. We'd have been laughing about it for days.
We were chuckling.
Laughs for days.
Laughs for days.
But I just thought, fuck it. Like last year, I'd had a project that was basically finished, and then I had a hard drive failure, and just lost all my shit. So everything I'd recorded was gone. I used ancient equipment, so I had all my beats still on discs and whatnot. But it was quite nice to just start fresh, and I thought, right, let's start with some new shit. I think the first beat I made is on there, that I made after everything was wiped, and then also the track that I gave Kister for the Soundweight beat tape, the audio obstacle course. That was like the second beat I made after losing all my stuff, and I put that on there as well. So shout out to Kister for not minding me putting it on my album, because I really like the beat. I was
it's such a good album, and obviously was it last year or the year before? Last year was when Oil Baron came out as well, which was probably one of the best posse cuts I've heard.
I wanted to just do a mental posse. I made that beat well over 10 years ago. But I just had it for one day I want to do a crazy posse cut, and managed to get it together. I'll never do it again because it was such a nightmare.
That's what I was going to ask. It must have been a nightmare.
I didn't record
how many MCs were on it?
It was 12.
And how many MCs did you actually meet?
I've met most of them that were on there, but not all of them. I didn't record any of them. They all just sent me their vocals.
It was all Dropbox.
And it was just it was a nightmare to mix. It's 12 rappers, and they've each got like ad-lib tracks and all that stuff, and it's got to sound good. But once I got it done, I was really
it's really good.
Killer.
Just because it's different. It's like 8 bars each, and they all just rip through, and there's loads of heavyweights in there.
Totally, and a real mishmash of styles as well.
That's what I wanted. I didn't want everyone to sound the same. And really happy that the Pneumatic did. That was like the last thing he's probably ever going to record, and it was on that, which is great because I've known him for well over 10 years now, and we'd never really sort of done any tracks together, so it was nice to. We've done a few bits, but.
And the first Beats for Days, how long ago did that come out?
That came out at the end of 2010.
2010, so 6 years.
Yeah.
In the making for the follow-up.
Yeah,
which,
kind of.
You know
It's
what I
about
mean?
a year in the actual making.
If you're thinking of like, the Beatles only had, what I mean, sort of, 7 years really of releasing stuff. It's phenomenal that it actually took that long for you to actually decide to do
It's
that.
calling you lazy, Rich.
It is,
It's calling you lazy.
Well, it's just a case of having the right
Yeah,
shit. Like,
of
I've got
course.
fucking hundreds of beats, but not everything's for.
Yeah.
It'd be great if I'm working on a couple of rap things, but.
And where would you say the Beats for Days 2 differs from the first one? Is there an evolutionary step, or is it?
Yeah, definitely. Like in the way that it's put together. Like
Right.
the first one, when I made the first one, I'd only had the SP1200 about not long.
Mm.
Like maybe not even a year. So
Right.
there's not a lot of that on the first one at all.
Right.
Whereas this one, every track is like
Yeah.
produced and arranged on the SP with many of the tracks with using the MPC as the slave sampler.
Sure.
So that's firing off my long samples and stuff like that. Once I got that machine, I got really into it, and I just loved the way you can program on it and arrange the beats and whatnot. And plus, I think it's mixed way better. I'm much better at that now. And
Talking of samples, obviously there's a lot of that goes into the majority of beat making, I guess.
Yeah.
But I mean, in regards to sort of like the sort of stuff that you like to sample, tell us a little bit about that. And has that obviously changed since the first Beats for Days as well, or?
Maybe not much from the first Beats for Days, but maybe not even much in general. Again, it's just I go for anything that's good, but my ear and is much more discerning, and I kind of know more what to look for now.
Sure.
That's
sure.
all it is. So it's kind of it's the same. I go for whatever sounds.
And do you find it difficult, because obviously there's so many beat makers out there finding these obscure loops from every walk of life and every sort of genre, you know what I mean? I suppose, I guess there must be a certain frustration if you think you found something.
Oh, for sure,
and all
yeah.
of a sudden someone,
Of course, yeah.
you've made a beat, and then all of a sudden you hear it, the same sample being used on something else.
But I mean, because I don't think, a lot of people don't seem to care about that anymore.
No.
But I kind of still, I'm like, nah, I don't really, I don't want, if I put something out and then someone uses the same sample, I can't do anything about that.
Sure.
But if I know beforehand that someone's used it, I'll try and avoid that. I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to, because I'm like, well, I can find something else.
Yeah.
But I can use something else if I want. It's happened countless times. I've got loads of wicked beats of shit that people have stepped on already. Yeah. So I'm like, no, I don't want to.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'll even make stuff out of used samples, but just for my own satisfaction. I'm not going to put it out there.
Yeah.
But it's just fun. I like making beats is fun.
And what sort of stuff? Because I mean, obviously we've known each other for a few years now, and obviously it's taken me a little while to get used to the sorts of samples that you particularly want. Because there's me coming and going, oh, you've got to check this breakout, and you're like, yeah, it's all right, you know what I mean? And then you'll pick up some new age album that's got no drums in it, and you're like, oh, this is fire, you know?
Yeah.
So, but I get it now. I do get it now.
The wag move changes too, I'll pick up stuff like you play me things that I'm just like, wow, what's that? I need that. Or things that I didn't know that certain sample was on that record, so I'll grab that,
So what sort of stuff do you find yourself looking for when you are digging? What's the sort of genre area do you look for in regards to? I'm not asking you to name your favourite sort of stuff, but give up your trade secrets.
Soundtracks and like you said, like I've written at the moment, kind of like weird, new agey, just kind of atmospheric shit. Like
ambient style,
stuff like that, where it's just there's not really any discernible tracks or any sort of even main melodies, but there's little things in there that you can then take and turn into some sort of melody or like a good library. You can't go wrong with a good library record.
Sure.
Soundtracks and even like prog rock and all kinds.
That's
just being into making beats. has got me into so many other genres of music just for listening. You know, stuff that I just enjoy to listen to.
Yeah.
So you know, sometimes it's hard to. You play me a lot of stuff that I'm like, man, that'd just be great to have to listen to.
Yeah.
But I kind of need to spend money on stuff that I can also, you know, turn into something.
Totally.
And it's like, I can't start collecting everything. Like,
I've
got a lot of stuff.
I said that once.
Can't buy everything, can you? Like?
He collects his pubes from the shower.
I do. I made a lovely hair jumper with some of them.
He tried to make me a wig out of them and sell it to me. What I like is on the back you've listed the equipment used.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I like.
Well,
that.
I like that with old records.
Yeah.
You listen. You look at the back, and it tells you what they used and
where
they did it and who was involved and
that's what, who arranged it and all that
exactly.
Sort of
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I find that stuff interesting, so maybe someone else does. So I'll put it on the back of my.
Well, I mean, you know, because you're quite the artist as well, aren't you?
Yeah.
So I mean, because obviously, you did that.
That's my job. That's what I do for a living.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that in a minute.
This music shit don't pay any money.
No, that's right. Yeah. So obviously, and I guess the samples that you have been sort of like collating over the last few years have obviously made their way onto the new album.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of music archaeology purchases on the album.
We like to.
There's a few there's like a handful of bits on there that were things that I made a while ago that I dug up, like some of the skits. There's a few, they're not listed on the track list, but there's a few skits on the end of some of the tracks.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, like I didn't want
to
list them.
Almost electro-y sort of.
Yeah, there's like a little, I think that's a library thing.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to get to next, though. Interesting that you say not listed on the track list, but what is listed? Where do you get the names from? Is there?
There's some like nerdy sci-fi references in there. I love that kind of shit.
Yeah.
I'm a proper nerd, so stuff from like sci-fi books and whatnot.
Yeah.
And a couple of, you can recognise some of those from film references and whatnot.
Yeah. And have you got a favourite track on there? Have you got one there? It's a strange question.
I have to look at. Can I look at the track list?
Forgotten what was in his own records.
We should have had it playing in the background, shouldn't we? Really?
Maybe. I don't know really. Maybe the Time Stealer or the one after Full Serenity.
Yeah.
Maybe the Full Serenity one I made literally a week before finishing it.
Wow.
I needed one last beat.
I remember you saying this when you came into the shop.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it took a while, wasn't it?
Searching for the perfect beat.
Yeah, that's right.
I was trying to find something last beat.
I was going to say the immortal words of it.
And I made that one and I was like, no, that'll go on there, nice.
Yeah.
Cool. So besides, obviously, it's not numbered, which is.
No,
I liked your statement about that.
It's kind of like I love that. I kind of like that stuff, but I don't want to hamstring myself. What if it I very much doubt it. But if it's sold out like crazy, I want to be able to press another bunch. If you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's wrong with selling lots of records these days?
Yeah.
Like that's what this is about. Like what?
Yeah.
Well, it's not what it's about. But man, if you can, imagine if you could go back to the days when you'd sell 10,000. Like all of us struggling musicians would actually be able to make a bit of money. But so I don't want to hamstring that, and then I don't want people buying it for the sake that it's limited edition.
Yeah.
Because I'm seeing somebody sell that in a few weeks' time after it, if it ever sells out. Seeing somebody sell it online for 150 quid that isn't particularly gratifying. Because it's like, well, they didn't want it.
Well, it is if you've got a couple and they want.
Yeah.
It's like they didn't. It's like they didn't want it and they've just sold it on. I would rather there not be any copies for sale.
Yeah.
That would be much more gratifying because people don't want to sell it. They like it.
True.
That's what I hope people buy it because of the music.
But I guess, I guess
that's the most important.
It's a good start.
But you're going to be selling a few, obviously, wholesale to.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, I want it in
so
shop.
some of it will go online because obviously that might be one of their avenues for.
Oh yeah, no,
shops,
of course.
so.
Like I don't. That's the other thing. Like the pre-order will come out and you can buy it direct from me. And the tapes you'll only be able to get from me because there will be only 50 tapes.
There's a tape.
Right.
Yeah, there will be a cassette coming.
see
But I
that.
haven't got them yet.
Oh, okay.
But there'll only be 50 of those. And you
I'll
can
have
get
a tape
those
as
for
well
really-
then.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, yeah,
Put you
cool.
on
I'll have a
so.
few in the shop.
Yeah, I want it in shops. I want people to, like someone in Germany, to be able to go into a record shop and it's there in the shop.
Yeah.
In Japan.
Yeah, in Japan and places. You know, I want that. I don't want, you know, even if it sits in a shop for 2 years, that's great. Like I can't count the amount of times that a new record, like I find out about a new artist and their record dropped a few months ago. I missed it.
And
It's sold out. And I can't fucking get it. I can only go online and pay like 80 quid for it. And it's like, it's not worth 80 quid.
In regards to, I mean, so obviously this is when's the release date for this?
Well, pre-orders on the 10th, so that's probably already when this has probably already gone up. This is probably past.
Yeah.
So pre-orders on the 10th, so you can get it now. You can pre-order it on my website. It'll be on my just westaytrue.com, but it's westaytrue.bigcartel.com.
Gotcha. So besides obviously,
it's out on the 31st. So most pre-orders will probably ship earlier than that, but then it should be in some shops, and like the digital and all that other shit will be out on the 31st of October.
Gotcha.
When's the so not to like kill this now? It's already out, but when's WST4?
I don't know.
Nothing in the pipeline.
I've got like
Things.
I've got some ideas.
Yeah.
But I want to do something that's a bit more. Like,
Yeah.
I don't really, but not like a double album, but just maybe less tracks. But they're maybe a bit more involved.
Yeah, what he's saying is he wants me
nothing
and
like
Chris
that.
singing on it.
No, well, that's what you said. Don't be
shy.
earlier on that was going to be the case.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, well
We've been warming up.
that's for a side project.
Oh right, okay. It tells us now, Brad.
Yeah, that's something that's going to make us millions.
Where do we know for Nilly?
But like, I do have, as other projects, I do have rap shit. Like I've done a bunch of tracks with Capo.
Cool.
I'm not really kind of doing any more rap shit after these projects.
Never say never, Rich, because you
Well,
didn't say well.
I mean, if people come along, great. But I'm not kind of hunting it down. I'm not the dude that's posting up all their beats for people to hear. And like, if somebody wanted to do stuff with me, just get in touch with me.
You need to be wooed, mate. That's what it is.
Yeah. No, they don't need to do that. They just need to respectfully get in touch with you.
Yeah.
And like, they'd have to come round and hear stuff. Like, I'm not sending 100 beats out for them to pick a beat. It's just not the way I do shit. But yeah, I'm doing stuff with Capo, which is going great. We've got a ton of stuff in the works. That will come out at some point. Don't know when. It's like a work in progress. And then I've got a project with Confucius MC that should be coming out fairly soon. Again, details aren't hammered out completely, but that's in the bag musically. It's been in the bag for a minute.
And that will come out on vinyl as well.
Yeah, but I think it's most likely going to be on Wynar.
Right, okay.
And there's possibly the vinyl might be done independently, but again, none of this is completely hammered out yet.
Sure.
So, but that'll be coming at some point.
So, but other than obviously the making beats, you do your Echo Bass podcast, which is every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks.
It normally goes up either on a late Tuesday or on a Wednesday.
And that's basically just new releases. It's almost
I mean, that stemmed from doing a Ustream show a few years ago with Headcount Chris and Dan from King Underground and all that lot. And it was just an excuse to get together and play shit and like we used to when we were younger, but do a show at the same time.
Yeah.
And then just through circumstance, Chris is in Brighton now, and people are busy, so I just do it myself. It's all just new.
And from that, you've actually done the Echo Bass TV.
I started doing those. Like last year, I wanted
a few of those now.
I wanted to get back to like what we used to do with the original Ustream shows. Because they were no format. It's just you put it on and that's it. And we used to just stream it live. Some of them are on my Vimeo page. There's a Halloween one. We got masks and shit on, smoke machine and all that shit. It was a good laugh. But yeah, we haven't. That's why I wanted to bring the TV episodes back so that we could.
And they're obviously brilliant because.
You've been on two of them.
I've been on 2 of them.
That's right too. Yeah, one with Tony and one with.
Apart from YouTube, like yank it off, like your portable
we know that
devices
problem.
I don't really get it. 'Cause it's not like you're bootlegging a track. You're just playing songs. But
But
whatever.
I actually only watched it for the first time a couple of days ago because otherwise.
Oh, what, the last one?
Yeah. I rocked it.
That was wicked. It was really good.
Obviously Napa rocked it a bit better than I did, but it was.
The one with you and Tony was great.
Yeah.
The one with me and Toby playing beats seems to have got a lot of love and it doesn't get kicked off because it's all original beats. There was no songs being played. But I want to do like a scratch fest one where it's just get all the scratch heads round. We do like we used to do and cut it up for a couple of hours.
Yeah.
Like, no format.
You'll have to let me know when you need me for that one.
Yeah, sure, you can step in. And,
what about the artwork though? Because obviously you've done a lot of art for people as well. Obviously it's your job, but you're doing a lot.
Yeah.
You've done a lot of art for a lot.
Yeah, I do. I've done loads for Dan at King Underground. Like when he started the label, it kind of just made sense. He kind of got me into doing it for a job, just because I started doing so much for him that it just made. I was like, "Fuck! I should start doing this as
full-time thing."
Yeah, well, on the side, and it was only until May last year I got made redundant from a job, so I went full time and started working with Mo Fingers. Tile. So I do a lot of work for him as well. So a lot of flyer stuff and all that shit, but. Yeah, I do a lot of covers for different people. Done a few for Kister at Soundweight, and used to do a lot for Ill Adrenaline Records, which is like a German US label. And
you did the Napa 12 as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I did the Rebel Bass cover
right.
and the 12 for that. I've done a lot for Dan King Underground.
Yeah, and didn't you have something to do with George Field's album as well?
Yeah, I laid his album out. I just did the cover layout and stuff. I didn't really design it. I just did the layout and the text and whatnot.
Right.
I've done a lot of that for people as well. Like Chris at Headcount, the people send him the artwork and it just needs laying out properly, and so I just do that and bits like that. But
obviously, 2 days of the week you work in a
2 days
in a record emporium.
I work in the record shop, so that's like just means I rarely come home without something to listen to.
Just down the bottom of the hill.
Literally just down the bottom of the hill. It's so handy.
Yeah.
But that's why people need to come down there.
That's right.
Come down there, South Harrow Market.
There you go.
Monday to Saturday, 11 till 5.
That's right. They'll either get a hug off of you or a hug off of me.
Well, they probably won't get a hug off of me.
No, you're a little bit hostile, but yeah.
I'm a bit more of a grump.
Whereas me, I'll hug anyone.
If they're lucky, they'll find me in there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's right. Well, cheers. It's been an absolute pleasure having you have us over.
Yeah.
And let's continue with the show.
And don't forget, Beats for Days 2, aka known as Beats for Weeks, Beats for Months, Beats for Years.
Beats for Laughs. Nice. Cheers.
Yeah, what a great interview, what a lovely fella. Thanks for taking the time to talk to us.
Indeed.
And inviting us to your lovely place.
Anytime, you have to come for the next Echo Based TV.
I will. I was wondering when we were invited to the last one.
You were?
He told me last minute though. I already had plans.
You know that?
I did tell. No,
he told me that a week before.
I told him earlier, but then he might have neglected to tell
you. He did tell me about it.
Oh, that's right. Blame it on me.
Yeah.
I'll have to just message you directly.
Anyway, this is the album. If you haven't pre-ordered it, or where are we now?
Dates you can pre-order it.
You can pre-order it now. You can get it now. I've got it. This is my copy being played. And this track is Taoist Moon. And this is on the beat tape as well. You were saying.
Yes, it's also on the Kister. What was it? Audio Obstacle Course beat tape.
Yep. Which you can still get.
Which he's still got a few copies of that. So
get that fast.
And then get the new 45. He's got a new 45 Prince beat tape.
That's right. Yeah.
There you go.
I think
it's just gone up.
Just dropped. Yeah.
So.
Last week, should I say?
Cool. Make sure you buy this. This is wonderful. This is a great album. This is just a little taster.
Thank you.
And make sure you get it because I think this will sell out fast.
Totally.
We'll see.
Yeah. But it's been on this show now. So.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
Fuck, I forgot.
And it's
about
got Chris's name on the back.
Yeah, it has, and, you know, and literally the,
Sucking up to the boss.
the tens of people that watch this, then
Well, you know, we're going back up again. YouTube keeps taking us down, so they've tried to kill us, but our hardcore fans are strong. They will watch
They
us on
probably
the...
won't be taking it down because of this.
Yeah, they won't
No,
take it
that's
down
right.
with this. This is good, this is good.
depends on the
Yeah.
sample clearance. But anyway,
Yeah.
so what we got next, Rich, from your...
Let's go for a little classic hip hop track.
Let's
One
do
of my
that.
early favourites.
Cool. So what's this, Rich?
This is Down featuring Hieroglyphics. Burn. Classic.
Yeah.
One of your favourite.
Yeah, one of like the early ones that, you know, I'd played just as it came out. It was on Skate Gear.
Yeah.
The B-side to Mr. Dobalina.
Yeah, that's
Mr.
right.
Dobalina.
The B-side to Mr. Dobalina from Dell's first album.
Yeah, I've got this.
It's great, it's got the whole crew on it.
Yeah.
The beat changes up real dope, and I love it. It's a great track.
There you go.
Very nice.
Oh, where's the stuff behind us here? Is this...
That's all hip-hop, isn't it?
That's all rap shit, yeah.
Yeah.
This isn't it. If you were here, you'd see there's records all the way down here, down there, and all in the other room as well.
That's right.
I haven't checked the toilet or the kitchen yet, but there might be something there and his bedroom.
But there is a tortoise.
There's a tortoise in the bedroom.
Tortoise,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right. We were going to have Rich sitting down with the tortoise and stroking it like a Bond villain. But the tortoise is asleep.
It doesn't quite work.
It doesn't, no, because it's a man-eating tortoise. Anyway, cool. So next up, we're going to go with our break of the week, aren't we? So what have you picked today? This one, right?
Passport record. Cross collateral.
Cool.
And yeah, it's called Wicked Lombo.
Good, I don't even know this, but cool. Let's have a listen to break of the week.
What's this then?
Yes, is this Passport Cross collateral.
And the track is?
Shit, I don't know what the track is. Jadoo? Yeah, Jadoo.
Jadoo.
What year was this?
75.
75 on Atlantic.
And there you go. Wait for it.
We're waiting. Oh, that's crisp.
Yeah. And then it gets.
Funky rock, yeah. It's kind of sleazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're all nodding our heads.
But it's a great open break.
Yeah.
It's
For kids.
not. People find it's not expensive.
No. They're the best ones. But theme of the week from Mr. Brown is one of your favourite things to collect is anime films, right?
I've always been a fan of that stuff since I was a kid, and then getting into digging, it's like, oh, there's those, there's that. And there's shows I've always loved as a kid, and it's like, oh, you must have good stuff on it. Yeah.
This one is from Erotica with Love.
No, it's Erotica with Love, but it has,
Erotica with Love,
it
that's what I'm
has-
calling it.
but I can tell you a weird story about it.
Go on.
It's what is it? Yeah, that's a dude.
Yeah.
He's like an English duke.
Yeah.
He's also an art thief. This guy's like a German NATO officer, and this guy bothers him. He fancies him, and all he does is just bother him, kind of get his way, and annoy him. And that's the show. Well,
Only in
it's
Japan?
It's just a manga. It's not an actual anime. It's a comic. Yeah, but it's got some wicked shit on it.
Cool.
Let's get some of this incidental music of bothering dude stuff.
Yeah. And this is
I don't know what the track's called.
okay. This is from not Erotica.
Erotica from Erotica with Love.
Erotica with Love. Yeah.
Super
This is
cool.
lovely. And he's got quite a few in the other room. How many you got animes?
Oh no, I don't know.
30?
Maybe 40, 50, maybe.
Wow.
Quite a few.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
I try and get them when
In
I
the
can.
grand scheme of things, it's not quite a few, but it's quite a few. For something that's not that easy to come by.
Very nice, very
Yeah,
nice.
it's lovely.
It goes back into it again.
Get a little bit talking. What are they saying?
I don't know, something like that.
So the blonde dude, the English Duke, is saying hello
I
to the
don't, I don't even know if it's them
Come
two
over for a cup of tea.
talking,
It
or-
might not be.
指先が触れる
Is that them two again?
Yeah,
美しさは本当の美し
Swear?
さ
Yes.
yeah, I know. But
Okay.
it is a dude.
He is definitely a dude.
Yeah.
に愛されたもので
I
す
can't remember what his name is.
Yeah.
それが
He's got
私
a nice chin. Yeah.
Lovely
It's like
sleeve.
Jimmy Hill.
He does. Actually, to be honest with you, he looks a little bit like Jimmy Savile.
With all that jewellery.
When we first started, we used to give Jimmy Savile a really hard time, didn't we?
Well, you just got told off
I
mentioning
did,
it.
yeah.
Anyway. Well, that's it from us this
Yeah.
week, and thanks ever so much to Mr. Brown for having us in.
Yeah,
And
no problem anytime.
yeah, totally.
Don't
And,
forget, Beats for
Beats
Days
for Days.
2 is out now.
Where is it?
Get it,
It's over
get it
here.
where you can. My
It's
copy is somewhere.
somewhere hidden.
My copy's been stolen back. There it is. Get that while you can. And also, because we haven't mentioned it, make sure you come down to the Shed Shop. The Shed Shop is in South Arrow, just opposite South Arrow, Big D Line Station.
That's right.
That's right. If it's not me, it's him.
It's him.
Yeah.
Yeah, 11 till 5, Monday to Saturday.
Yeah.
Loads of bargains. Loads
Loads
of
of
bargains. So
Need
many
some
more
company.
bargains than
I
that
get
shop
really
up the road.
bored
What's
down
it?
there on my own. Like
There you
Sunday.
go.
美しい
No customers.
胸が
They just only come in when he's there.
Yeah.
Because he's the famous one off the tap.
真実の喜び
We'll catch you
禁断
next
の
week.
扉の向こうにはネクロ
Bye bye.
Peace.
Cheers, mate.
Never scratched over this beat.
It's fucking amazing.
Nice, mate. Nice.